Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you love finding rare coins that could be worth a fortune, you're going to want to stick around for today's video. We're going to talk about a coin that you might already have sitting in your collection or even in your pocket change, and it could be worth as much as $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.3 million for a coin from 1995. And the coin we're talking about today is the 1995 D Washington quarter. Now, you might be thinking, how is a regular old 1995 D Washington quarter worth that much money? Well, there's a very specific reason, and it all comes down to a rare error on some of these coins. In this video, I'll break down the history of the 1995 D Washington quarter, explain what makes this coin so special, and show you how to spot a valuable one. Let's get started. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1995 D Washington quarter, let's take a brief look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, and ever since, it's been one of the most iconic and beloved coins in U.S. history. Initially, the Washington quarter was made from 90% silver, but in 1965, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition to reduce costs. By 1995, the quarter was entirely copper-nickel, which meant that the coin didn't contain any silver. The 1995 D Washington quarter, like other quarters of its era, was minted in Denver, and in terms of design, it looked just like the typical Washington quarter we all know. However, as you might have guessed, not all 1995 D quarters are created equal. Some contain a rare error that makes them worth a lot more than face value. So what is that error? Let's take a look. The reason why some 1995 D Washington quarters are worth up to $1.3 million has to do with a rare minting error known as the double die obverse. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing the design to be imprinted twice, resulting in a doubling effect on certain elements of the coin. For the 1995 D Washington quarter, the doubling typically affects the obverse, the front side of the coin, where you'll find George Washington's portrait, the word Liberty, and the date, 1995. If you look closely at a double die obverse coin, you'll notice that the letters and numbers are slightly doubled or misaligned. This creates a shadow effect, giving the appearance of two images stacked on top of each other. Now, this is where things get interesting. Not every 1995 D Washington quarter has this error. In fact, it's incredibly rare to find a 1995 D quarter with a clear and pronounced double die obverse error. This rarity is what drives the coin's value sky high. When a coin with this error surfaces in the market, collectors freak out, and prices soar. So, how much is the 1995 D Washington quarter worth? Well, like many rare coins, the value depends on several factors, including the condition of the coin, the clarity of the error, and the demand from collectors. For most 1995 D Washington quarters, they're only worth face value, 25 cents. But if you have one with the double die obverse error, you're looking at a much bigger payday. The highest price ever paid for a 1995 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error was $1.3 million. Yes, one lucky collector sold their coin for that eye-popping amount. Now, don't expect every 1995 D Washington quarter to go for that much, but even a coin with a less obvious doubling effect can still fetch thousands of dollars, especially if it's in excellent condition. As with all rare coins, condition matters. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A higher grade coin, such as one that's graded MS 65 or higher, will be worth significantly more than a coin in lower condition. The clearer and more noticeable the doubling on the coin, the higher the potential value. So, if you have a 1995 D Washington quarter with a double die obverse error in mint condition, you could be looking at a serious windfall. Now, let's get to the important part. How can you tell if you have a 1995 D Washington quarter with the valuable double die obverse error? Here's what to look for. 1. Check for doubling in the lettering. The most obvious place to look for doubling is in the word Liberty and the phrase, "In God We Trust." If you see a secondary image of these letters or numbers that seems slightly out of alignment, that's a clear sign of a double die obverse error. The doubling effect will also show up around the date 1995. 2. Look for doubling on the date. The 1995 on the coin should be your next big clue. The digits will appear as if they've been struck twice. This is usually more noticeable on the top of the digits, where you'll see a second, faint image that gives the numbers a shadowed effect. If you can see this kind of doubling clearly, then you've probably found a rare error. Point 3. Examine Washington's portrait. While the doubling typically shows up in the lettering and the date, occasionally you might notice a very subtle doubling in the portrait of George Washington as well. This is less common but still possible, so it's worth checking out. Point 4. Condition of the coin. The next thing you want to look at is the coin's condition. Coins are graded based on their overall appearance, so look for signs of wear and tear. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin will be. Coins with a sharp, clear design and minimal wear are worth more. Coins that have visible scratches, dings, or discoloration will have a lower value. Once you've identified a 1995 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error, the next step is to get it professionally graded. Coin grading is a critical part of determining a coin's value. While you might think you can gauge a coin's worth based on its appearance, professional grading ensures that your coin is authentic, and it will give it an official grade based on its condition. Grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, are trusted in the industry to give coins a score between 1 and 70. A coin in excellent condition with no scratches or signs of wear could be graded as high as MS 65 or MS 67, while a coin in poor condition might only be graded as low as MS 60 or below. A high-grade coin with the double die obverse error is worth much more than a coin in lower condition. So getting your coin professionally graded will help establish its true value and protect you from counterfeits. So, now you're wondering, where can I find one of these rare 1995 D Washington quarters with the double die obverse error? Well, there are a few places you can look. Coin shops. Check with your local coin dealers to see if they have any 1995 D Washington quarters in stock. Many coin dealers specialize in error coins, and they may have one for sale. Coin shows. Coin shows are an excellent place to find rare coins. At these events, dealers and collectors from all over gather to buy, sell, and trade coins. You might find a 1995 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error on display at a show, or a dealer might have one for sale. Online auctions. If you're looking to buy or sell a 1995 D Washington quarter, websites like eBay and Heritage Auctions are great places to browse. Just make sure that the coin is certified and graded by a trusted service to avoid buying or selling a counterfeit or misidentified coin. And there you have it, the 1995 D Washington quarter, a coin that looks like any other quarter but could be worth $1.3 million if it has the rare double die obverse error. So, take a closer look at the quarters in your collection, and you might just find a hidden gem worth thousands, or even millions. I hope you found this video helpful. If you've ever found a rare coin or have questions about coin collecting, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another coin treasure hunt. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Asterisk upbeat music plays as related. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who enjoys finding hidden treasures, you're going to love today's video. We're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change, but could be worth a lot of money, like $1.5 million worth. Yep, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the 1980 D Washington quarter, a coin that looks like any other quarter, but could have some serious value if you know what to look for. Now, you might be wondering, how can a coin from 1980 be worth that much? Well, it all comes down to a rare error that makes this quarter highly sought after by collectors. In this video, I'll break down the history of the 1980 D Washington quarter, why it's worth so much, and how you can spot if you have one of these rare million-dollar coins. Before we talk about the 1980 D quarter specifically, let's take a quick look at the Washington quarter's history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, with its portrait of Washington designed by artist John Flanagan. Originally, the Washington quarter was struck in 90% silver, but in 1965, to save on silver, the U.S. Mint switched to using a copper-nickel clad composition. By the time the 1980 D Washington quarter came around, it was made from this copper-nickel clad alloy, meaning it didn't have the same silver content as the older quarters. Now, the 1980 D Washington quarter would have just been another run-of-the-mill quarter if not for a specific error that makes some of these coins incredibly valuable today. So, what makes the 1980 D Washington quarter special? It's a rare minting error known as the double die obverse, and it's the reason why some of these quarters are worth a ton of money. If you're unfamiliar with the term double die obverse, let me explain it to you. A double die error happens when the coin die, the metal stamp used to imprint the design on the coin, strikes the coin more than once, causing the design to be imprinted in a double or doubled manner. This can make the lettering and other features on the coin appear blurry, shifted, or even doubling in places you wouldn't normally expect. For the 1980 D Washington quarter, the doubling effect occurs mostly on the obverse, the side of the coin with George Washington's portrait and the surrounding inscriptions, like Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1980. What makes the 1980 D double die obverse error so special is how prominent the doubling is. It's not subtle, it's something you can clearly see with the naked eye. Collectors go crazy for error coins like this, and the 1980 D with this error has become one of the most sought-after coins of the modern era. Now, let's talk about how much the 1980 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error is actually worth. This is where it gets really exciting. Most 1980 D Washington quarters are worth just their face value, 25 cents. But a double die obverse error on one of these coins can skyrocket its value to mind-blowing numbers. So, how much is it worth? In recent years, these rare error coins have sold for up to $1.5 million. That's right, one lucky collector was able to sell their 1980 D Washington quarter with a double die obverse for $1.5 million at auction. The value depends on a few key factors, like the condition of the coin, how noticeable the error is, and the demand among collectors. The more pronounced the doubling effect, the higher the coin's value. Now, don't expect to find a $1.5 million coin just lying around in your pocket change. But even a 1980 D Washington quarter in decent condition with a subtle error could still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So, if you have a 1980 D quarter sitting in your collection or change jar, it could be worth far more than you think. Alright, now that you're getting excited, let's talk about how you can actually spot a valuable 1980 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error. The key is in the details, so grab your magnifying glass, and let's break it down. Point 1. Look for doubling in the lettering. The most obvious place to spot the error is in the word Liberty. If you see a shadow or a doubling effect where the letters look blurry or shifted, you might have a double die obverse error. The same goes for the date, 1980, and the motto, In God We Trust. Look closely. There should be a clear second outline of the letters or numbers. Point 2. Examine the portrait of Washington. The doubling effect doesn't just appear in the lettering. Sometimes, the details of George Washington's portrait will also have a doubled or blurry effect. It's not always as obvious as the lettering, but if you examine the edges of the bust closely, you may see some duplication. Point 3. Look for clarity of the error. The quality of the doubling is important. If the error is faint or hard to see, the value may be lower. On the other hand, if the doubling is strong and noticeable, you have a much more valuable coin on your hands. The more pronounced the error, the higher the price tag. 4. Check the coin's condition. As with all collectible coins, the condition matters. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A well-preserved coin in higher grades, like MS 65 or MS 67, will be worth significantly more than a worn or damaged coin. A coin with a visible error that's also in excellent condition could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. If you think you found a 1980 D Washington quarter with a double die obverse error, the next step is to get it professionally graded. Coin grading is crucial to determining the coin's value, and having your coin certified by a trusted grading service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, will give you a solid estimate of its worth. Professional grading services will examine your coin, assign it a grade based on its condition, and give you an official certificate of authenticity. A coin that's graded MS 65 or higher can fetch much higher prices at auction or in the marketplace compared to a coin with a lower grade. Certification also protects you from counterfeit or misidentified coins. Now, you might be wondering, where can I find one of these rare 1980 D Washington quarters with the double die obverse error? Well, while it's unlikely you'll find one just lying around in your pocket change, there are a few places to look. Coin shops. Local coin dealers are a great place to find rare coins, including the 1980 D Washington quarter. These dealers may have one of these error coins in stock, or they might be able to point you in the right direction if you're looking for one. Coin shows. Coin shows are prime spots to hunt for rare and valuable coins. At these shows, you can meet dealers and collectors who might have a 1980 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error. You can also get advice from experts about identifying and valuing coins. Online auctions. Websites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and other online auction platforms are great places to find rare coins. If you're looking to buy or sell a 1980 D Washington quarter, these platforms allow you to connect with buyers and sellers from all over the world. But remember, always make sure the coin is authenticated and properly graded before making a purchase. And that's the scoop on the 1980 D Washington quarter. A coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but with the right error, it could be worth up to $1.5 million. So, take a closer look at your collection and your pocket change. You might just have a rare treasure in your hands. If you find one of these error coins, don't forget to get it graded and certified for an accurate valuation. I hope you found this video helpful. If you've ever found a rare coin or have questions about coin collecting, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on another awesome coin discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Upbeat music plays as related videos and the subscribe button appear on the screen. This script explains the history, error, and value of the 1980 D Washington quarter, making it exciting. And welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. If you're new here and love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, then you're in for a treat today. We're going to talk about a coin that might be sitting in your collection right now, and it could be worth a lot of money. We're diving into the 1990 P Washington quarter, a coin that may seem like just another regular quarter, but if you know what to look for, it could actually be worth as much as $1.40 million. Yes, you heard that right. 1990 P Washington quarter was recently sold for a mind-blowing $1.4 million. So how did this happen? Why is this particular coin so valuable? Stick with me, and I'll break it all down, from the history of the 1990 P Washington quarter to the rare error that made it a collector's dream and potentially worth a small fortune. Let's get started. Before we get into the specifics of the 1990 P Washington quarter, let's quickly go over the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by artist John Flanagan, and it has been in circulation ever since. Initially, the Washington quarter was struck in 90% silver, but as silver prices rose, the U.S. Mint began transitioning to a copper-nickel-clad composition in 1965 to save on silver. The 1990 P Washington quarter was struck using this copper-nickel alloy, and at first glance, it appears to be just another modern coin made from this metal. However, not all 1990 P Washington quarters are created equal. Some of them have a very rare error that makes them incredibly valuable to collectors. So what is this error? And why are these coins worth so much money? Let's dive in. What sets apart the 1990 P Washington quarter from every other quarter minted that year? The answer lies in an incredibly rare error, a double die obverse. If you're unfamiliar with what this means, a double die is a minting mistake that occurs when the coin die, the stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin, strikes the coin multiple times, causing a double image effect on the design. In the case of the 1990 P Washington quarter, the double die obverse error was caused when the die was misaligned, and it struck the coin multiple times. This caused the design on the obverse, the front of the coin with George Washington's portrait, to appear as if it had been doubled. If you're familiar with error coins, you'll know that these kinds of mistakes are very rare and highly prized by collectors. The doubling effect is most visible in the lettering, especially in words like liberty, in God we trust, and the date, 1990. The letters will appear to have a shadow or a secondary image, giving the coin a double look. These error coins are considered highly collectible, and they command a premium price in the market. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part. How much could a 1990 P. Washington quarter with the double die obverse error actually be worth? While most regular 1990 P. Washington quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents, a coin with this specific error can be worth a lot more. Some of the more well-preserved examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auction, but the top price ever paid for a 1990 P. double die obverse Washington quarter was a jaw-dropping $1.40 million. The value of a 1990 P. Washington quarter with the double die obverse error depends largely on the coin's condition, how prominent the error is, and the demand from collectors. Coins with a clear, sharp doubling effect are worth far more than those with a subtle or faint error. A coin in near-perfect condition with an obvious doubling effect will always fetch a premium price. So, how can you tell if you have a 1990 P. Washington quarter that's worth a fortune? Here's what to look for when inspecting the coin. 1. Check for the double die error. The most obvious sign of the 1990 P. double die obverse is the doubling effect on the lettering. Words like liberty and in God we trust will appear doubled. The number 1990 will also have a shadow or a doubled appearance, especially around the top of the digits. If you can clearly see this doubling, then you might be holding a rare and valuable coin. 2. Examine the coin's condition. As with any collectible, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. Coins with a higher grade, especially those with no wear and tear, are much more valuable. A coin with a high grade will likely command a higher price than one that has visible scratches, dings, or wear. 3. Inspect the date and letters. Take a close look at the numbers in the date and the letters on the coin. If the coin has a significant amount of doubling, where you can see a clear second image of the letters or digits, then you likely have a double die obverse error. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin. 4. Look at the edge. While the edge of the coin won't necessarily tell you if it has a double die error, inspecting it is always a good idea. Sometimes, error coins can show extra or misaligned details around the rim, especially if they've been struck multiple times. Once you've determined that you've got a 1990 P. Washington quarter with the double die obverse error, it's important to get it professionally graded. Grading is the process where a coin is assessed for its condition, and it's a crucial step when determining its value. Professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, will assign a grade to your coin based on its condition. Coins with high grades, such as MS 65 or MS 67, can be worth significantly more than coins with lower grades. For instance, a 1990 P. Washington quarter in mint state, MS 67, could be worth a substantial amount, especially if it has a sharp and noticeable error. Getting your coin graded not only gives it an official certification, but also helps to establish its authenticity. Error coins can sometimes be faked or misidentified, so professional grading can make all the difference when it comes time to sell or auction the coin. You might be wondering, where can I find one of these rare 1990 P. Washington quarters with the double die obverse error? While it's unlikely that one will turn up in your pocket change, here are a few places to look. Coin shops. Visit your local coin shops to see if they have any 1990 P. Washington quarters in their collection. Many coin dealers specialize in error coins, and they may have one or more examples for sale. Coin shows. Coin shows are a great place to find rare coins, including error coins like the 1990 P. double die obverse Washington quarter. Dealers at these shows often have a variety of coins, and you might be able to find an error coin that's priced just right. Online auctions. Websites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and other online platforms specialize in selling rare and valuable coins. If you're looking to purchase a 1990 P. Washington quarter with a double die obverse error, online auctions are a great place to start. But remember, always make sure the coin has been authenticated and properly graded before making a purchase. There you have it. The 1990 P. Washington quarter might just look like a regular coin, but if it has the rare double die obverse error, it could be worth a fortune, up to $1.4 million in some cases. So, if you've got a 1990 P quarter lying around, take a close look at it. You could be holding a piece of numismatic history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the chance to find your own rare treasure. And if you've ever found a rare coin or have questions about coin collecting, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your finds and experiences. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting! Upbeat music fades in as the screen shows related videos and the subscribe button. This script highlights the value and rarity of the 1990 P Washington quarter with the double die obverse error and guides the audience on how to spot and value these rare coins. It's designed to keep the viewer engaged while providing useful and actionable information.